A thread by Carlos Osuita for Adam Krigler and Tim Pool. No, there's no looming war with China. I can answer all your questions. It would help if you accepted the indisputable fact that Donald Trump is a genius of strategic deception and distraction. This thread is in reference to the YouTube video from Tim. I believe it's probably Timcast IRL. TikTok will be banned. What might this indicate for the future of Chinese-American relations? Basically, Tim's worried that we're going to have a hot war with China. First, why is there a coin shortage? Quote, as the spreading coronavirus and resulting business closures crippled economic activity in the United States, the circulation of coins dropped off significantly. The U.S. Mint, which manufactures the nation's coin supply, also decreased staffing in response to the pandemic. As the nation's businesses have reopened, demand for coins has exceeded the available supply. From usatoday.com, fact check, yes, there's a national coin shortage. Here's why. What about the military spending? Well, we're never going to invade China, so the new armored vehicles are not related to a coming war. We had no military budget for 10 years. The military was getting spare parts from museum static displays. From military.id.me, Marines forced to scavenge aircraft parts from military museums. Quote, Marines stationed at southern U.S. military bases have been so hard up for money and supplies, they've been forced to scavenge aircraft parts from decommissioned aircraft, including those on display in museums. The Air Force did the same. When we needed 2 more AC-130 gunships, there was no money to pay for the 40mm automatic cannons. 2 were required, 1 for each aircraft. The guns haven't been manufactured since the 1940s, but we have the plans. Nope, no money. Guess what had to be done? The same gun was used on the M42 Duster self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. SPAG, see, S-P-A-A-G, SPAG. The Army and Marine gunnery ranges use Dusters as targets, so the Air Force scoured the country for 2 undamaged 40mm cannons. The guns on the Duster are handed, so they couldn't just take 2 from one SPAG. They had to find 2 intact vehicles. When they found the guns that had spent decades in the rain and snow and ice, they had to refurbish them. All of this was carried out and paid for by civilian volunteers. That is why we're still spending money on the military. We had mendicant armed forces for 10 years. That means beggar. So, what about Germany? Why are we removing troops from there and putting them in countries that pay even less than Germany? Always trust your Uncle Carlos to tell you the truth. The answer is that Trump is giving the Germans cover. For what? From DW.com, Germany significantly ups military spending. Quote, more and more money is going toward the world's militaries, with the US and China leading the way. But no other top spending country has increased its military expenditures year over year as much as Germany. End quote. The Germans are rebuilding their armed forces. After we remove half our troops, Germany will tell the public that they have no choice but to increase the size of the armed forces and change the various restrictions on how the Bundeswehr can be used. German Panzer Grenadiers have been training in Israel, and the Israelis are training Germans in Germany. Trump is giving the Germans cover. As always, he plays the bad guy, which makes Tim insist that Trump is flawed. No, worse than flawed, he's bad. How exactly? Never mind. Most people have at least one topic that they're irrational about. I knew that the Panzer Grenadiers in Israel, I knew about the Panzer Grenadiers in Israel when they first went. These are motorized infantry, halfway between regular army and special forces. Aha! I just found the original story from Haaretz. Israeli and German armies hold joint training exercise in Israel to practice urban warfare. Quote, the Israeli and German armies have conducted joint exercises in urban combat in recent weeks, the largest joint training ever between the two countries, end quote. The Germans sent 5 infantry fighting vehicles, so that means that they were training on how to use those things in cities. See, normally armored vehicles are extremely vulnerable in urban warfare. The Israelis use the Trophy Active Defense System. Now we have it. So do the Germans. The Bradley is the American infantry fighting vehicle. The Germans have the nearly identical Puma. The Trophy automatically shoots missiles and rockets out of the air. Also, armored vehicles modified for urban combat have Crows weapons systems that allow crews to use them from inside. And the German level of training is astonishing. There are links in the description to YouTube videos that Carlos is posting with these. Link to the thread in the description, of course. The German military buildup and intensive training all took place under the radar. What they needed was a boogeyman who the world could point to and say, he's the reason the poor Germans had to do this. So Trump said, no problem. Tell me when you're ready. The Germans are ready. And don't get me started on Japan. Same story. Russia and China are contained. They simply lack the technical capabilities of the West. The Germans have an artillery piece that can fire entire barrages by itself. The first round is fired with the gun elevated to a very high angle. For the second round, the gun is slightly lower, and so on for 5 rounds. All 5 rounds hit simultaneously. Germany is buying American jet fighters. Why? Nukes, Trump, Russian missiles. The weird reason Germany is buying American jet fighters, I'm assuming, is the weird reasons why Germany may buy 3 jet fighter types from Eurofighter and Boeing. All right. Quote, it appears then that the selection of the Super Hornet may be in large part to more quickly get jets certified to drop nuclear bombs, end quote. Tactical nukes. See, the open animosity between Trump and Merkel is a ruse. Trump is helping the Germans regain their geopolitical senses. If that means making people like Tim hate him, so what? Tim isn't president.